Over the past 2 years, I've been on a quest to play every Mega Man game, don't worry about that asterisk, and I've seen pretty much every iteration of this character since his debut in 1987. And now I can say with all of my experience that the best Mega Man is definitely Mega Man X, but if he didn't exist, it would probably be Geostellar. Mega Man Starforce, or known by its cooler name in Japan, Shooting Star Rockman, was meant to be the spiritual successor to the goated Mega Man Battle Network games. With over 5 games including spin-off, the series seems to have run its course while on the GBA, but with the new Nintendo dual screen released, Capcom decided to revamp the series with new characters, story, and setting, gameplay. We'll talk about it. After witnessing its story and characters, Mega Man Starforce has given me something pretty much every other Mega Man game hasn't, an actual story with an ending. It's harder to get than you'd think in this franchise. So Mega Man Starforce 1 takes place 200 years after Battle Network, which does not matter except for the occasional reference. In this day and age, everyone uses EM wave technology for everyday life. Instead of pets from centuries ago, people now use transers, these fancy watches that don't have any cool Mega Man related character in them. Instead, they are used to make brother bands, which is like friending someone on social media. Actually, it's exactly like that. Except everyone in this universe treats it with the utmost seriousness. It feels like asking someone to be your brother is like asking them to be in a committed relationship. It's very weird how they treat it. Also, there are 3 satellites in orbit called Dragon, Pegasus, and Leo that basically run all of the wave technology on the planet and make sure it all functions. They are so important that they will completely disappear after this game. That's because their actual purpose is to decide which version of the game to get. Yes, like Battle Network, we have multiple versions to encourage people to collect and trade in-game cards. For my playthrough, I went with Dragon, because dragons are cool. I feel like I don't need any other reason. Geostellar is your average kid no one understands. He has a huge fascination with space thanks to his dad Kelvin. One day, Geo comes home from school to his hot-ass mom, and he finds out from his dad's coworker, Aaron Boreal, that they just kinda lost Kelvin in space, like a pair of keys. After losing his dad, Geo spirals into a depressive state that gets worse over time, with him spending all day in his room and refusing to go to school. The only times he leaves the house is when he goes to Vista Point at his town of Echo Ridge to look at the stars, holding on to some form of hope his dad is still out there. With only his dad's visualizer, some special glasses that allow a human to see the unusually invisible wave world, which don't work at all, but are the only thing he has to remember his dad by. The game begins 3 years after Kelvin's disappearance, and Geo heads to his usual spot, except this time he's intercepted by Luna Platts, the president of the class he would be in if he went to school. Along with her are our friend Zack, a nerd who does not matter and will continue to not matter for the entirety of the series, and Bud Bison, who acts as Luna's bodyguard. The 3 try to get Geo to go to school rather forcibly, so he of course just runs away to his usual spot on Vista Point. This time something weird happens, a mysterious blue light appears in the sky and heads straight for Geo, which hits him, and when he wakes up he finds the visualizer now works, and he sees the thing that hit him is an alien named Omega-6. Shortened to Mega, he's an FMian from the planet FM who somehow knows Geo's name, and he says he learned it from his dad. Before he can explain the way virus attacks a nearby train, just go with it, and Mega tells Geo to use an EM wave change, which is when an EM being and human fuse. And of course they form Mega Man. Get it? Because he's Mega, and he's boy, but Mega Boy sounds like From here, the game is structured like the Battle Network games, with several episodic scenarios that are kinda connected, followed by a brief rest period to explore and do side content. However, unlike the last series where this stuff just happens and Land of Mega Man would just continue on with their day, each of the scenarios here serve to tie into Geo and his own struggles with coming out of his shell and trusting people, accepting his new power he has, and all gradually build on each other to further develop him, the other characters, and the world, kinda like a story? First one is after another unsuccessful attempt to get Geo to school, Luna berates Bud specifically for it, causing him to feel inadequate, and starting to blame Geo for it. Those negative emotions attract another FMian named Taurus, who offers him the power he wants to make the Prez happy. This of course does not go well, as he is forcibly turned into his own waveform, Taurus Fire, who causes a car that Zack and the Prez are in to go haywire and tries to run over Geo. With the car out of control and Mega realizing Taurus is behind it, he tells Geo his Mega Man form is the only thing able to stop them. Geo, being an introverted pacifist, refuses at first, but realizing Prez and Zack are in trouble, he reluctantly springs into action. And after some forced touchscreen minigames, he beats Taurus, saving the trio, with Prez catching a glimpse of Mega Man in the process. Also, we see that Mega knows Taurus, and Taurus tells Mega more FMians are on the way to get something called the Andromeda Key that Mega stole. For this scenario, we not only get some setup and exposition, but it gives a reason to root for Geo as the protagonist. That despite being scared and not a fighter, he risks his life to save some people who he doesn't really even like, showing despite his personality, he knows clearly right from wrong and will risk his own safety for others. After that, we get the worst scenario in the game in my opinion. To help get Geo to go outside, knowing his affinity for space, that coworker of Kelvin's from the beginning, Aaron Boreal, invites Geo to his lab at Amakin, the Aerospace and Modern Astronomy Knowledge Expansion Nexus, an acronym that definitely had me in the first half. And now seemingly stalking Geo, Luna, Zack, and Bud follow him on the trip. Here, Aaron's assistant, Tom Dubious, is a super paranoid researcher who was betrayed once by a colleague who stole his idea and took it as his own. Aaron, wanting to reassure Tom he has good intentions, forms a brother band with him, which again is like third base in this world. So of course, right after that, Tom thinks he overhears Aaron doing the same thing his last colleague did by revealing his wing pack invention, which isn't even that good of an idea, to these children who can't do anything with this information, even if they had it, and somehow this gets him all angry, and another FME in Cygnus offers him unlimited power. Not if Mega Man has anything to say about it. And of course, Dubious finds out it was all a misunderstanding, of course. Sorry, I just hate when conflicts come from easily explainable misunderstandings that only become misunderstandings because an idiot doesn't just ask the other party and instead assumes everything. This one, of course, is to have Tom mirror Gio's own trust issues, with Gio pushing himself from people to not get attached, so he won't feel sad if he loses them like he lost his dad. And he has a chance to change that when he encounters Sonia Strum, an idol around his age that Gio finds hiding in his hometown. She's hiding from her manager, who wants her to be I don't know, more commercial, but she wants to compose music that would reach her mother in heaven after she passed away due to some anime mom disease. This leads to Gio hiding her at Amakin until her manager comes by and even begins to physically threaten Gio and Sonia, and Boreal is there and he's just like, hey, knock that off, do something numbnuts, he's threatening to harm children. But this event is what draws the alien Lyra to Sonia, allowing her to change into Harp Note, and she doesn't really do much, she just kind of shoots these musical notes at people. But Gio stops her, showing her she's not alone in this world and to keep making music for her mom instead of TikTok. And of course, her struggles relate to Gio and how he pretty much does everything for his presumably dead dad. So the two form a bond here so much that Sonia becomes Gio's first brother band connection. And some words of encouragement from her give Gio the courage to make some progress himself and maybe starts considering going back to school. Oh yeah, and Gio has some weird dream about 3 animals, it's nothing. Gio's not ready to go to school quite yet, but a school play is coming up and Luna, being pushy as always, tells Gio he already has the most important role, so he has to show up, because that's something you do to someone with social anxiety, pressure them. The play also appears to be about Mega Man, as Luna caught glimpses of him and has gotten a bit of a crush on him. At school, Gio meets a teacher, Mr. Shepard, who is one of those make learning fun types, and a kid named Patrick, who eerily says they will be good friends. Also, Gio meets those 3 animals who control the satellites. It's a whole quest you do to get your Starforce. Yes, that's where the name comes from. It's your transformation thing. It's more of a gameplay mechanic, really. I'll talk about it later. Most important, they mention they are Aemians. Get it? 'Cause it's radio? You kids know radio? They're the last of their race, as they were wiped out by the Femians some time ago. Anyway, after stuff, Gio decides to come back to school at the best time because Mr. Shepard has just fused with Libra, another FMEN, after Shepard is told by the principal that he needs to cut out all this fun shit and make the kids learn, because good grades equals more money for school, and if he doesn't shape up, he's fired. And he's got 3 kids, so the stress of trying to figure out the right course of action is what turns him into Libra scales and uses an EM wave to make the kids learn by beaming knowledge into their heads. This part's okay, you save Shepard in school. Also, the play happens, Gio's role was supposed to be a tree, yeah, Luna lied, but the person who was supposed to play Mega Man bows out and Gio fills in, giving Luna some weird deja vu. The next day, a bunch of weird purple flame creatures attack the school, and Gio starts acting more like a hero, protecting Luna during this, but when Gio gets overwhelmed, Harp Note shows up to help. Yeah, it turns out Sonia and Lyra have become friends and can now EM wave change like Gio and Mega. Sonia has also gotten a crush on our Blue Bomber and uses this opportunity to ask Gio out on a date, which he reluctantly agrees to. Meanwhile, Luna overhears her parents talking about how they should transfer her out of school for her future or something. The next day, to take her mind off it, Luna tries to hang out with the Nerd Squad, but they refuse, so she decides to bug Gio, and sees him leaving with Sonia, so she follows them, because she definitely doesn't like him, she just wants to know what's up. During the date, Luna's parents are at the same snake exhibit, it'll make sense in a second, and Luna is found out by them, and Gio learns of her transfer as she storms off. This gets the attention of Ophiuka and FMEN, and despite Gio's warnings, Luna fuses with her. She controls snakes, that's why we're at a very specific snake exhibit. Sonia's out of commission after being bit by a snake, so it's up to Gio to save the day. He does, and Luna turns back in the Wave World as she hugs Mega Man when he's pulsing out. That's what the cool kids say when you leave the Wave World. Which reveals to her that Gio is Mega Man, and Gio and Luna make a brother band after finding out more about each other through this adventure. And Luna's parents let her stay, hooray! After all that Pat kid from before begins befriending Gio as the two bond over being outcast losers, and Pat offers to make a brother band with him. But it turns out Pat is evil, sort of, as he has another personality in him called Ray, who is working with the king of Femians, called Gemini. Get it? Gemini? Because there's 2 of them? Have I made my point that these games have not even heard of the word subtlety? They've heard of puns, though. Gemini's here, of course, to get the Andromeda key that Mega has. Gio does stop him, but this once again triggers his trust issues after pretty much revealing his soul to Pat, only to seem like it meant nothing to him. So he has a falling out with Mega, who leaves and disbands all his brother bands he's made up until now. Which cannot come at a worse time, because the King of Femians is here, and causes all kinds of havoc on Earth, including making the Wave World visible now. That's not good. Oh, also, the thing housing the King of Femians is the same space station that Gio's dad was lost on. Convenient. During this, Geo finds Mega, who was just beaten with the Andromeda Key taken, but they make up, he becomes Mega Man again, and Geo reestablishes all his brother bands. Now to get to space, Geo uses a secret underground NASA space bunker to transmit himself there. Cool. Oh, also, Boreal, Zack, and Bud all find out Geo is Mega Man. Why even keep it a secret at this point? So Geo goes to space, we do a boss rush because this is still a Mega Man game. We also find out that Mega is actually an AMEN who only joined the FMEN so he could use the Andromeda Key to get revenge for them destroying his planet. But after meeting Kelvin and Geo, he's decided to change his mind. Also, Kelvin is not dead, not really a twist, but it's because Mega turned him into EM waves, so he's just kinda ethereal, floating around in space now, I guess. So anyway, we meet King FM, we fight Andromeda, it's a thing, he's actually kind of a hard last boss. We save the day, but now Geo is trapped in space with no way to get back. Thanks to friendship, he's able to make it back. Game over. Now I know towards the end of that I got real general and skipped a lot. That's because, trust me, these games do work as a trilogy, and honestly, after the Heart Note stuff, for me the story was just kinda eh. Especially the falling out part where Geo starts doubting himself. Like, yes, it makes sense for his character and stories need moments like this, you know, the all is lost moment, but I hate these sections because you know it's just gonna work out in the end, it always does. I will say, and this will continue on through the rest of the games, I love the dynamic between Geo and Mega. Unlike Lan and .exe, who are literally brothers, here we get an odd couple, with Geo being the pacifist who doesn't want to interact with anything or anyone, and Mega being the violent punch first, ask questions later kind of guy, who wants to see everything Earth has to offer since he's new to the planet and gets bored very easily. The relationship slowly developing over the game helped the series is one of its highlights. Definitely my favorite protagonists of these Mega Man games, they're pretty fun to watch. But anyway, now we need to talk about the part that I guess is important to a video game, the gameplay. So if I were to describe Starforce's gameplay, it's Battle Network simplified. It is for the most part the same game. You have an overworld you travel in where you meet NPCs for quests, and instead of jacking in, you pulse in to the wave world, which is a bunch of roads above the overworld. Honestly, that's fine. I do miss the net world with its 90s window PC backgrounds, but you still kind of get that in certain areas. To get to the wave world, you need to pulse in at certain points on the map, so you can't do it anywhere, which is only annoying for side quests. So how do you think you accept side quests in this game? Well, first you find someone who makes mention of a problem, then you have to go find an area to pulse in, you pulse into the wave world, navigate to them on the wave roads, which involves usually taking a long detour, you go into their transer, they say the problem, you accept the quest, then you pulse out, have to walk back to them, talk to them IRL, then the quest actually starts. Why can't you just talk to them? And there are a lot of side quests in this game. Also, you can only accept one at a time, you can't have multiple going on at once. Now sure, some of them aren't that bad, like take a quiz or you give them a card, but trust me, it gets annoying having to do this process so many times over the course of the game. Yes, they're side quests, so they're not mandatory, but you get good rewards for them, like rare cards or health upgrades, so they are worth it to do, especially if you're a completionist like me. I didn't do every quest in this playthrough, but I did do a lot of them, and let me tell you, it was not fun. Also, I don't think the dungeons are really that great. Most of them are mainly designed to do what the DS does best, have forced touchscreen minigames. Not all of them have it, like Ophiuchus doesn't really have one, but some like Tara's Flames, which is just a quick time event, feels like padding. Similar is Heart Notes, which she doesn't even get a dungeon, she's just in the overworld, but hers is just spam tapping a direction to blast music notes. And how did they miss an opportunity to make the Idols touchscreen minigame a rhythm game? It was right there. The dungeons themselves are fine, pretty linear with only some diverging paths for chests, pretty standard. I'd say my favorite were the Snake Dungeon, where you had to outrun these giant snake creatures, and Libras, because this minigame was answering basic trivia and math problems very fast, which is harder than you think, and this dungeon had the best music. Now the most important part, and what you'll be doing the most, the battle system. It's fine, I just don't like it in comparison to the last one. Now if you're unfamiliar, well, you should have watched my video about it, then you'd know in Battle Network you fought on a 3x6 grid, where you can move around and shoot with your Mega Buster and do bits of damage, while using your battle cards, which were bigger attacks with one-time uses, to deal most of your damage to enemies and bosses. That mostly remains the same here, but instead of a 3x6 grid viewed from the side, it's a 3x5 grid you view from a third-person perspective. This is to both show off the 3D capabilities of the DS, but also to simplify combat, as now instead of 4 directions, you can only move Mega Man left and right. While yes, this makes dodging simpler, I feel it does take away a lot of the satisfaction from previous games of learning enemy patterns and attacks to dodge them properly, as now you just press left or right at the right time. It does not feel as satisfying. At least the best part of Battle Network remains in Starforce, the card system. You build a deck of cards based around mostly enemy attacks and even bosses, which are your main source of damage. And yeah, it's still great. There are a lot of familiar cards from Battle Network, but of course a lot of new ones, adding more variety with new enemies that actually do take advantage of the more linear battlefield. Want my advice? Get the Flame Mule card, whatever it's called, that shit is broken in this game, trust me. Finally, they kept a feature introduced since Battle Network 2, which is different forms for Mega Man. And like I said earlier, your form is dependent on your version. I played Dragon, and honestly, I didn't care for it. It's a wood type, which powered up wood element cards and healed me on the grass tile. They might as well just call me a beta. And then there are special combos of cards that result in best combos. I never use these, nor will I explain them, because they're kind of pointless, in my opinion. When you have Mega and Giga chips, which are like big summons, those remain the best cards in these games. Overall, I think Starforce 1 is fine. As a spiritual successor to Battle Network, it does its job of being different enough while maintaining a lot of the things that make it a mobile RPG Mega Man. What do we call these two series together? Is there a name for that? Of course, I mainly enjoyed the story aspect of this more because the gameplay to me is just... Of course, I mainly enjoyed the story aspect of this more because the gameplay to me is just Battle Network for dummies. Starforce 2 is probably the weakest one. Not saying it's bad, just comparing it to the rest of the trilogy, it's not as good as the other two in my opinion. I'm not going to go over each scenario in this game in such detail like I did with the last one, mainly because I don't think of them as highly as the last one. So in this game right off the bat, you can tell Geo has changed because he actually smiles in his portrait. That's development. A weird trend for these games is that every game you get a new thing for using your brother bands. In 2, instead of transers, we now have star carriers. They're pretty much just smartphones and serve pretty much the same function as transers, so what is even the point? Now, in my opinion, I think each game handles a certain theme that ties into Geo's development. In the first one, it was mainly things like trust and friendship. Friendship's going to be a common one throughout the rest of the series. And this one is about Geo actually putting himself out there as a hero. In this game, the villain, Lady Vega, is going around causing havoc. This causes a huge EM wave burst or something that now has normal people perceive the wave world and Mega Man, and after some events involving Vega's subordinate Hyde, who causes more EM beings to fuse with humans, Mega Man starts becoming a sort of national hero. Geo does not take this well, because he still hates violence and standing out, and to make matters worse, his friends egg him on a little too much, saying he's the best and will always win, he can't lose, which doesn't really encourage him, it just makes him more nervous that he can't live up to their expectations. And this comes to fruition when, on another date with Sonya, Mega accidentally eats something called an Oop Art, a powerful artifact that gives you your new form, more on that later. That's the main thing the bad guys want, and now that Mega Man has it, a kid named Solo, who is an emo loner that doesn't need things like friendship, if you couldn't tell by his name being Solo. Oh, and if you need further convincing, his EM form is called Rogue. So Solo, of course, hates Mega Man because he talks about friendship and junk. So after the two of them scrap, he uses a big shadow hole that teleports Zack, Bud, and Sonya away, with Geo only able to save Luna. We have another Geo sulking moment, which luckily doesn't last long when Luna is able to bring him out of that funk quickly. Especially when they see Zack on TV in another country, now confirming their friends are alive, just scattered throughout the world somehow. And this is where the story started to lose me. Because now it was no longer about Geo coming to terms with the fact that he's a hero and needs to step up and do what is right despite all the pressure and potential danger. It's instead a globe-trotting adventure to save your friends, with Hyde showing up like a Power Rangers villain to turn some random adult into a boss battle. Which is fine, I don't mind that part, it's just, it feels like two different games happen when these two plots occur. Like, that whole Mega Man being known thing does get brought up again, but it feels more pushed to the side now. And then we learn about Mu, an ancient civilization that used EM waves. I repeat, an ancient civilization that was able to utilize radio technology. Now yes, this is fiction and it's for kids, it's not like I can't believe that that happened in this world, but they never really explain how they did this. Like, the civilization with no concept of technology could just interact with something that can only really be interacted with using technology. Well, they did have ancient star carriers that the bad guys use, which it sounds like the civilization used ancient versions of the tech they use today. So why are we just hearing about them now, and why do we never hear about them again after this? Like, it doesn't feel like world building to me. Kind of like the satellites, it's just another thing to exist only in this game, and they try to give it more meaning, but because it's only used once in this game, it has less of an impact, it feels more like a gimmick, which, yeah, it is a gimmick, that's the whole point of it, but the writing should make it feel like it isn't. That's my main problem with this game. The story feels kinda all over the place. First it's about a new threat and Mega Man becoming a known hero, then it's about saving your friends and going all over the world, then it's about this new ancient civilization we've never heard of, which by the way, Solo is the last surviving member of the people of Mu, which is why he's all emo, he's basically Sasuke. And that's fine to have all these plot threads, it's just that, to me, they don't come together naturally at the end. And there are some things that happen in this game that I think are just stupid, like the part where Geo thinks Sonya turned evil, because when you find her, she's like, I'm working with the bad guys now, I don't need you. And again, just so they can have a Geo depressed moment, he's like, man, I can't believe she's evil now. And look, I don't care if he's a kid or because of his past or whatever. After the first game and the beginning of this one, I just don't believe Geo's that stupid to think that Sonya would just betray him like that. Luckily, Luna tells him obviously she's lying, duh. And she did it because if she didn't, the bad guys would attack Mega Man, like they've been doing this whole game, so she did it for stupid reasons too. And yes, again, I understand why she did it. She likes him and junk. That doesn't change that the logic is still stupid. I mean, he's Mega Man. He's shown he can take care of himself. Then there's EM Residue, which is excuses for why they can reuse Taurus Fire and Queen Ophiucha assets for story bosses. So yeah, I don't really care for the story in this game. The gameplay is still pretty much the same as the first one, so it's good. I like it. Except the lack of dungeons. There's like 4 towards the last half of the game. At first you just use the wave roads in the real world, which is just a bunch of linear hallways essentially. The dungeons we do get are fine, I guess. My favorites were the one in Wazap, yes that's the name of the country, and the final one. Luckily they do get rid of the forced touchscreen minigames. There are still minigames, but most of them use the D-pad. Only a few require the touchscreen and they aren't that bad. Side quests are unfortunately the exact same as before. It is easier to get to someone's star carrier to accept their quest, as now when you transform you can walk around on the ground, so you can go directly to them, but you have to trans out and walk back to them like before. So they sort of removed one step. You can still only accept one at a time though. Now I know I sound very negative and you probably think, oh, he doesn't like this game, he's trashing it. But no, it's still a portable Mega Man RPG. There really has to be a better name for these. So core gameplay and battle system wise, it's still solid. For the versions, there's Zerker X Saurian and Zerker X Ninja. A Saurian sounds like a slur to me, and ninjas are cool, so I picked the ninja one, which, because of the Zerker, you can actually pick that one on either version. Yeah, you get 2 forms in each game. I went with ninja, of course, and once again, I got the form that uses wood element. I swear I didn't plan that, it just happened. I would go into what this form does, but similar to why I didn't talk about the dragon one, I barely used the cards for that element, and whatever extra benefits that form offered me did not suit my playstyle of brute forcing with powerful super cards, so I didn't care. Also, I was starting to not enjoy the story, and just to get footage, I used codes to get better cards about halfway through, which isn't cheating. Most of these are promotional codes distributed in Japan intended to be shared. I'm playing as intended. Didn't really help me with the last boss though. Now, the last boss in 1 was kinda hard, but I beat him first try. The last boss in 2 is legit probably the hardest boss I fought in this Mega Man RPG series. He has so much health, fast attacks you have to dodge, and you can't even hurt him right away until you wear him down after dealing a certain amount of damage. He took me so many tries, but I did beat him and this game, and the ending is basically the same with Geo being lost, but thanks to friendship, he finds his way back. They all kinda end like this, spoilers. Oh, also, Lady Vega just disappears. I'm not explaining her motivation and backstory, it's not that interesting. Solo's still around, and I guess now Mega Man is sort of a known hero. So that's Mega Man Starforce 2. Overall, like I said, story and level design left a lot to be desired to me, but I'm a simp for a good card game system and action RPGs, so it balanced out for me. Luckily for Geo, he did get one more game, and unlike other Mega Mans, he got a proper finale to his story.
Mega Man Starforce 3, Red Joker!
Not gonna lie, that voice acting scared the shit out of me. Finally, we have Starforce 3, Red Joker, and Black Ace. I actually already own Black Ace for some reason. It's the only Starforce game I do own, so I decided to play Red Joker for this one. The only main differences again are the forms, also some extra bosses, ooh. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. So the one thing I do like about these games are their extensive post-game sections, with extra bosses, a sort of extra story, and of course powerful cards to collect. I didn't do any of them, mainly because of time, and also I've done it before as a kid, and I'd rather not 100% an RPG twice in my life. I'm not that sad. That's what I like to tell myself. Starforce 3 gets rid of star carriers for Hunter VGs. Basically now anyone can bust viruses with their new wizards, digital beings that live in their devices. And wait, this is just the pet system from Battle Network. It's literally the same, except people can materialize them in the real world. They just gave up and decided to bring back pets, I guess. The story of this game is thankfully the most straightforward and honestly the best one in my opinion. After Geo saves the school from a wizard that goes rogue along with one in a studio that Sonya is filming at, he gets to know the Satella police who investigate wizard-related crimes, especially Ace, one of its most prominent members, and his wizard, Acid. Their main goal is to stop Dealer, the new villains consisting of their leader, Mr. King, his super hot assistant Heartless, some big nigga named Joker, and Jack and Tia, 2 siblings who go undercover in Geo's school because they know he's Mega Man and are ordered to keep an eye on him. This goes well at first until a field trip with the school to Alohaha, again yes that's the actual name, and after stopping another Dealer plan, Geo finds out about Jack and Tia, and then kinda surprisingly, Joker shows up and notices Mega Man likes to protect people, especially people like Luna, and he straight up kills her, right in front of him. Look at that sprite of Geo being absolutely destroyed, that's too real. Even Tia and mostly Jack are taken aback at that as they started feeling the power of friendship with Geo and his friends. And this is where the story got better for me because you'd think this is another Geo sulking moment, but no, Bud, Zack, and Sonya are upset about it, but Geo doesn't give up hope. He says that since they still have brother bands with Luna, that she must still be out there. Turns out she is, and she wasn't killed, but turned into EM waves and was scattered throughout the real world. So Waza, the organization heading the Satella Police, helped Geo restore Luna, and they constantly tell him there's no guarantee this will work every step of the way. There will only be a slim chance she'll be revived. But Geo doesn't care, because as long as there is a chance, he's determined to save Luna. And finally, this is the development I was looking for, and it makes sense, as in past games, Luna was the one who would always believe in Geo and help him cheer up, So it's nice to see that when she needs him, he's willing to step up and do whatever it is to help a friend. You'll see where all of it clicked for me, that you really have to play all 3 of these games to get this change of personality. Going from a reclusive, awkward kid with trust issues, depression, and having no tolerance for anything violent, he's now a more bright and happy kid who has faith and trust in the people around him, and is more willing to use his abilities to help people no matter the danger to himself. He's even willing to let his friends help and not babysit them because he trusts them, like Sonya and Bud. Yeah, for reasons I'm not going to get into, Bud can now freely EM Wave change into his Taurus Fire form, making him a part of the team. But even Bud gets some stuff in this game when he decides to leave the team, because he wants to stick close to home while Geo takes care of all the other stuff around the world, so he can protect his friends Luna and Zack. I wasn't expecting to come out and say Bud is one of my favorite characters in this series, but alright, I'm here for it. And yeah, of course they save Luna thanks to friendship and a really annoying sequence of searching for her fragments, hearing that same voice line over again. Sonya doesn't really get that much, unfortunately, she's just kind of there. Also Zack. My point is, if you just play the first Starforce game, you're really missing out, as this series, while stumbling a bit, does have arcs for its characters that have a payoff here at the end of it. That doesn't mean the new characters they introduce are thrown to the side. One of the reasons why Geo is more eager to jump into action is because he looks up to Ace, as he's an example of an ideal hero to him. And during the Luna stuff, we find out Ace actually used to be a part of Dealer and even had a relationship with Tia, it seems. And Tia puts a plan into action attacking the Waza base while Mega Man is trying to revive Luna, but he beats her, capturing her. This prompts Jack to try to save her by beating Mega Man, but he starts to hesitate when he sees Luna's alive somehow. Oh yeah, and help us fight Jack, Solo comes back. Yeah, he's just around now, and he has a wizard too? Okay. So after beating Jack, we go to Dealer's base, where Joker from before basically hacks Acid, turning Ace into Acid Illegal, which is a sick-ass name. After Geo beats him and Joker, under an order by King, attempts to self-destruct, but Ace sacrifices himself to save everyone there, including Geo, Tia, and Jack. And yeah, Ace, for the main story anyway, is dead. Sort of. They leave it up to player interpretation, but he doesn't appear anymore in the game, and I think it's better for the story that he is dead. But his last words to Geo help light a fire in him when he tells him to be a hero of justice and stop Dealer. Oh yeah, I haven't actually said their plan yet, have I? So along with all these technological advancements, a new type of disruptor called noise appears. It's what corrupts wizards into going berserk. Using high concentrations of noise, Dealer corrupts wizards, and when too much noise is around, it takes a physical form called Crimson. Dealer's collecting this Crimson because the more Crimson on Earth, the faster it attracts a giant meteor called Meteor G, which isn't really a meteor, it's a huge ball of noise that formed in space. And if it hits Earth, not only will all EM wave technology be destroyed, but also 80% of the human population will die. So, yeah, that's kind of bad. King doesn't want to destroy the world, though. He wants to rule it and control the meteor, so everyone will basically be like, you know, back off or I'll kill you all. But surprise, it turns out Jack and Tia are there to stop him, because they never were with him. But surprise again, he captures them because they actually suck. But surprise again, as Heartless was actually also never working for King and planned on betraying him from the beginning. So she uses a noise hole thing to seal him in Meteor G. But Heartless's plan isn't going right because she expected Mega Man to show up first, not Jack and Tia, who reveal their plan is to let Meteor G crash into the Earth and kill everyone. But why? Well, it's because as kids, their lives were ruined by war and technology and all that stuff, so they want to get rid of it all. Honestly, I didn't care how sad their backstory was, considering they are knowingly killing 80% of the population. I mean, you can't justify that, kids, no matter how sad your backstory is. Well, after Geo finds all that out, it turns out he can't really do anything, as Meteor G is now on a collision course with Earth. But he has to, because Heartless reveals inside that meteor, the main being powering it, is Kelvin Stellar, Geo's dad. Yeah, after being turned into EM waves by Mega, Kelvin was on his way back to Earth when he saw Meteor G, realized its threat, and went inside to try to stop it, but only started slowing it down. How does Heartless know this? I forgot, doesn't really matter, because now shit is getting real. Geo has a chance to save his dad along with everyone else. There's no turning back here, so one last time, Geo goes into space, being directly transmitted into the meteor for the final battle. Where due to science, we see bits of Kelvin's memories, which are kind of boring. I'm gonna skip them along with the boss rush. Mega Man beats Jack and Tia and convinces them, hey, destroying the world is kind of stupid. And they leave with Rogue, who also showed up. Needed something for him to do, I guess. And now, the moment finally happens. The thing Geo has been working towards since the first game. He meets his father in the meteor. Finally, everything Geo has done up until this point, all the struggles, the tears, the laughs, the hardships, are paying off. His dad is finally there in front of him. Till King shows up again, remember him, and he fuses with the meteor and then eats Kelvin, what the fuck? So now it's the real final battle to save everyone. Mega Man versus a dragon. I kind of wish it was something more creative for a final boss, but at least the music is good. Like the last one, this boss was hard as shit too, what the fuck, man? Geo manages to hold his own, but uses all his energy, barely making a dent in the meteor dragon. And it seems like Geo can't go on anymore. Thanks to friendship and Ghost Ace, Geo unlocks his final form, a red wind turbine, and in a satisfying victory lap, you just wail on the final boss in this invincible form, destroying the meteor and saving the day. But once again, Geo is lost in space, and Kelvin decides to reveal to the world that Geo is Mega Man without his consent, and needs their help to get him back. I told you it happens in every game, but this one is cool and involves the whole world, so it's fine. With that, Geo is guided back, but Kelvin and Mega, for some reason, stay behind, saying they will meet again someday as the credits roll. Geo wondering if he will ever see them again. Of course he does. We need to have the possibility of a sequel, as Mega returns right after the credits, and even Kelvin is back in full human form. How the hell did that happen? Who cares? The end. Which, yes, it is a sappy ending, but who doesn't love those? And how can you not feel happy looking at that sprite of Geo hugging Mega? That's just great. And that's the story of Mega Man Starforce, the best story in Mega Man. Yeah, I said it. I think it had great character arcs, decent plots, and above all, a good main character to follow. Sure, it stumbled hard there in the middle, but hey, unlike other Mega Mans that either go on for too long, or don't get any resolution, or get some weird successor that just makes things more complicated, Starforce was a nice trilogy of games I'd recommend to anyone that likes Mega Man, RPGs, card games, or the DS. I guess those people exist. Gameplay-wise, again, 3 is similar to the other two. The only major differences are you can now transit anywhere, which is very convenient, especially for side quests, which are, again, better but still suck. Instead of one exclusive form, you have different noise forms that are similar to the ones in Battle Network 2. You know, you get them based on, I think, how you play the game. And there are a lot of them, more than I thought. And you can even potentially get another one like I did by just playing the game. You're not stuck to just one, you can have multiple. I've always liked these style-like forms because they can make each playthrough feel so different. Also, we have actual dungeons this time. Well, it's front-loaded instead of back-loaded, but I forgive it because the dungeons are sort of fun and have awesome music. But yeah, that's the Starforce games, and with that, my journey to play all the Mega Man games is complete. It took way longer than expected, but it was fun. I got to experience games and worlds I never would have otherwise, like today, and I was able to relive parts of my childhood that I had forgotten about. And even though I played some questionable ones, Mega Man still remains one of my favorite franchises to this day, and hopefully a Starforce collection or something is in the works, or even a new Mega Man. Probably not.
Don't forget to subscribe!